I'm sharing my screen, and this is a very important document. It's from the MCA. Anyway, I would share this with in the group as well. It's called Leading for Safety. Leading for Safety is an MCA document. It's available online. I will share the link as well for everyone that would like to see or have a read themselves as well. So what I intend to do this today is to discuss this document with us. Most of the things written here are, say, referred to the master, the captain shall, the master shall, and all that. However, what I would like us to do is to, everywhere you see the master, let's try and think about it like the second officer or the third officer, or, let's try and look at it that way so that it will be, we can personalize it. Okay, so it's not just the captain, it's everyone. Okay, so that is my idea for the class today. Okay, so leading for safety. Now, is a nice. Can you see my screen? If you're not seeing my screen, you need to swipe. You need to swipe your phone to the, I think, to the right, so that you can see what's on your left. Can everybody see my screen? If you cannot see my screen, please let me know so that I will be able to advise you on how to get there. All right. So can you, somebody should let me know if you can see my screen. I'm sharing a screen, and just give me a thumbs up or just chat and say okay, or someone should just unmute themselves and say okay if you can see.
We can see the screen, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All right. So yes, so this is you can, yeah, good. You can see my screen. Thank you very much. Thank you. So you can see the picture. It looks like like a captain and his crew, but that's not a picture of me. I have 6 packs. I'm proud. Yeah, I'm just proud like that. I'm proud like that. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, so I will share the link to this so that everybody can actually download it and read it themselves. So this class will be about discussing this, a practical guide to leaders in the marine industry. We are all leaders. Everybody in this class today, all leaders. Okay, so again, this is an MCA document, and if you know, the MCA is safer lives, safer ships, and cleaner seas. All right, who doesn't want that? So the 10 things, there are like 10 core safety leadership qualities that the MCA really talks about. Okay, and that's what we'll talk about. So confidence and authority. Okay, so yes, as the master or as the officer of the watch, which could be the chief officer down to the second officer or third officer, respectively, and also the engineers as well. This is also part of it. You need to have confidence and you need to have authority. Okay, this is broken down bit by bit, and for us to see. Then there's the part of the empathy and understanding. So what does this mean? We will see that as well. And there's a part of motivation and commitment. Okay, so that's also something we will be discussing, how to motivate and how to get commitment from your crew. And there's a part of openness and clarity as well, which is communication. Okay, so those are the 10 things that we will be discussing in this class today. We'll be trying to bring in some practical aspects to it as well. If you know anyone or you have some experience you can share. I know some people with my crew and they're on board this call. So if there's any parts you feel, okay, I have not really been up to standard in what I'm saying, then you can just say, hey, Captain, I know you don't do this one, all right? Well, don't do that during the class, all right? So do that after. Okay, so let's go to the first one. So confidence and authority, as I said, that's the first 4. So they're broken down into 4 categories, basically. So just to help you to know it. So confidence, instill respect, command authority, lead the team by example, draw on knowledge and experience, remain calm in crisis. The number 4 is easier said than done. Probably if there's anybody in the class today that has sailed with me, might be able to say if I'm calm in crisis or not. Okay, I'm I will be waiting to see, or maybe I need to get more. For people that are joining us for the first time today, we normally have a practice of when you're joining. It doesn't matter today. We're not doing a strictly question and answer. We join with initials, all right? Especially when we're doing the ROR questions. So for next time you want to join us with your initials so that it's for privacy. Okay. Number 5, 6, 7, practice tough empathy. Number 6, be sensitive to different cultures. Number 7, recognize the crew limitation. Number 8, motivate and create a sense of community. So do we get community on board? How do we create that sense of community on board? Is it only about barbecue or not? You know, place the safety of crew and passenger above everything. What does this mean to a lot of us, you know? Thanks, okay. Then last part is communicate and listen clearly. You don't need to take notes, except maybe something I'll be saying, because I would share the link to where you can get this publication on the page. If you're not on our page, if you're getting this link via someone else, just try and let me know maybe later and I can send you the link, or we can add you to our page as well, our WhatsApp group. Okay. So where am I? So now the picture about this, you can see this picture of this captain with a whip and all that. Guess what? This is we are past that level now in our practice on board. Hopefully, I don't see captains with whips anymore. But still, we need to have respect, but we need to also command the authority. So my own experience going on board, whichever the ship is, whichever the nationality and all that, I don't find this as a problem at all, to be honest. I think I easily do this, maybe because I've learned it over the years. Since I was a cadet, I've seen captains that are very playful, but you don't disrespect them as well, you know, and I've learned the way they do it. So it is probably that's what I have brought into trying to unmute someone. Okay, good. So the ability to instill respect and command authority over the crew is the first thing that comes to mind when people think of leadership. In many ways, it happens on its own when you get everything else right. Leaders get respect and command authority when the crew believe that you are willing to exercise the power vested in your position. So now, I don't really, well, I talk a lot, but not really. But if I'm saying I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. So I don't get to the point where I say I'm going to do something, because once I give my word, then I'm going to do it, especially when I'm on board. And maybe sometimes I do it at home as well. So my daughters know that if I say this, then it's going to be that, you know, especially when it comes to discipline. You know, there's a place of, yeah, we can discuss it, but once it's gotten to the point whereby, especially like in an emergency or, you know, something that has to be done, it has to be done. You know, okay, Papa will not take a chance on this. He will not change his mind. You know, I mean, in that aspect. So yes, as a master or as the OW on board, you have your power vested on you. So remember, it is your watch, all right? So even the presence of the master doesn't change the fact that it is your watch. So sorry guys, if you're hearing some background noise, I am babysitting today, the girls, all right? So it is your watch and you have the power to do that in your watch. So you must know how to do it. So your relationship between as an officer and your watchman or the engine room, you know, you have to command that respect. You have that, and you should know, and people around you should know that, you know, you are going to use that power when you have it. What can example of that would be, you know, in real life. So let me say, as a master, I go on board and I call for drill, um, and someone doesn't come for the drill, you know, you will be answering questions. You know, that is not acceptable on my watch. You know, now another part is necessary knowledge and competence. Are you knowledgeable? People can easily read through you if you don't have knowledge and competence. If you are fidgeting, if you're afraid, they can see that you don't have that confidence, and as a result, there will be some disrespect. You know, I remember this when I was a new chief officer on board, and you know, the guys knew I was first time chief officer, and you can see the bosun or the guys who want to have a, you know, just a play on you, and you know, those things. But because I grew up in the ranks, through the ranks, I can easily see that, and I have the knowledge, I have the competence, but also I'm not bragging, because if I don't know, I will ask them anyway. um Understand their situation and care for their welfare. So, am I expecting um, too much from the people sometimes as well? If I am expecting that, then that can be a problem. I also understand that there's a goose that lays the golden egg, right? So I need to take care of the goose and the golden egg. So again, as master, some people I said have sailed there with me. The food, the feeding, water feeding is very important for me. So I don't joke with it. I mean, I mean, the cook must be good, because you need to make sure my guys are eating well. Communication clearly. So, you know, and am I communicating clearly to people? Am I actually even communicating at all? Do they understand what I'm saying? Do we even talk? So, for example, I use my time during drills or after drills as a means of communication. You know, letting people know what we're doing on board, safety meetings when we do them, you know, and all that. Or maybe I join in a TBT and just have some good discussions with them. Prepare to act confidently and decisively. So, are you confident on your watch? Are you going to be making a decision? Are you, if you alter to starboard, are you going to alter to starboard, or are you going to be shaking as oh, what's good for? I mean, and all that. So, so that is, those are one of the ways to command authority and respect. So, because again, he says, why is it important? Because without authority and respect, it's difficult for you to influence the behavior of your crew. If you, as you might understand, people will just. I have, unfortunately, when I was a younger officer, I have seen been on ships where the crew doesn't respect the captain at all. You know, at all. Um, they respected the second engineer. Well, that was a dynamics. There was religion at play. There was the nationality at play. There was a lot of things at play, you know, at that point. But I could see why they did respect the captain. I wasn't the captain. I think I was chief mate then, and but it didn't stop me from respecting the captain. But I could see why the crew did not respect the captain because of this. You know, few of the things he didn't want to. He wasn't willing to exercise his power. I don't know if he even knew about his power as master. The knowledge and competence wasn't, you know, really there and all that. So, um, so yeah, again, as you see, there's an individual or group value. So as I said in that one, there's a group religion, there's a group on nationality, you know, and all that. And that they had a de facto leader, which was a second engineer, and they followed the second engineer. Even the captain would say, let's go have a barbecue on Saturday. Second engineer would say, no, we're going to have it on Friday. And they will do on Friday, you know, something like that. It is what it is. Okay. So again, one of the things I know that can affect is when you have a lot of crew that has too many shore influence. So if your crew members are the brothers of everybody in the office, or everybody sending WhatsApp messages to the office, or you know, officers knowing everything is happening on board, or the, you know, and all that. So even as a master, you don't have command of the ship. and the crew is aware of that, you know, it's all messy. Yeah, they will not. They will they will just take a piece on you. So few things to do is you need to have your confidence in your decision, and this again is not just master level, is third officer, second officer, chief mate, chief engineer. If you have a confidence in your decision, you stick to them, you know, basically. If you make a mistake, yeah, I've made a mistake, and explain to people where you think the mistake is and why you make the mistake. All right. And lessons learned, you know, you're not I know people on this ship that have seen me make mistakes on this call, that have seen me make mistakes before, and we talked about it also on how the mistake happened. Some people felt it's not my fault, but again, as master, it's rest on my, you know, on my shoulders. So yes, demonstrate to the staff that you care, you respect them through their everyday actions. You know, there's nothing wrong in saying thank you. Maybe not to the cook anyway, but I'm joking. So there's nothing wrong in saying thank you when you do a good job. I do this when we go for some ethic operations, maybe even regular operations, just mooring operation, and I go on the radio and say, "Oh, bosun guys, thank you very much." You know. Because I know it's garbage in, garbage out, all right? So when you respect your crew, they will respect you back, you know. Of course, you want the shore management to come into it, but there must be a way to come into it. So, for example, I don't take instructions from the crew. So even if the crew is, you know, the brother or sister to, I don't know, wherever is, I don't take instruction from the crew. You know, it's as simple as that. Yeah. So what you don't do, you don't go and start telling people that I am your captain. You should respect me, you know, and all that. That doesn't really work. I don't make it look like threats, or you don't listen to people, you don't talk to people when they challenge you and all that, you know. Why are you angry? You know, when people for no reason, you know. I believe I cannot be right and angry, and I should not be wrong and angry. So there's no point being angry at all. Also, the shore-based management are there to help, and we should have a good rapport with them. You know, then also I think when we start dividing ourselves, and you know, and this is also what we practice at home. When the kids can divide the parents, then they have a jolly ride. You know, so when the shore management and the ship management are divided, then the crew just have a jolly ride. So when the captain and the officers of the watch are divided, then everybody will have a jolly ride. So the captain says this, when the captain is there, they do what the captain wants. When the captain doesn't go, they're like, I said, the old man is gone, let's do what we want to do now, you know, and all that. So yes, he doesn't help the captain, and he doesn't also put respect on the officer of the watch as well, you know. Maybe gossiping as well, you know, gossip about people. There's no point. Only low people do that, you know. So again, if you see this is commanding respect is a combination of having the right knowledge, skills, attitude, where attitude is self-regulated. Okay, so lead the team by example. It doesn't mean don't jump into the water like this picture says. Okay, but the if you want people to do something, you know, hopefully you can do it yourself as well. Practice what you preach. You know, if you want to talk about safety, then we should be into safety, okay, ourselves, so that everybody knows we are on the right track. If you tell people to use their PPE, then use your PPE as well during work hours, you know, because again, people follow, they say, what you do speaks. Okay, what you do speaks so loud, people cannot hear what you are saying. Okay, if the noise in the background is getting too much, somebody just raise their hands up. Okay, I'm seeing these kids are having a nice time. All right, so what we do on board as officers speaks so loud that the crew, people around us cannot even hear what we're saying. So it's what we do that is most important, okay? And that's what people see, and that's what they will take with them. You know, even if you're going to have misunderstanding with your superior officers or, you know, with the ratings and all that, how do you manage yourself? So that is, you know, so say, okay, obey the last order. Let me put my hands up. I've disobeyed the master before. Um, when I was chief officer, you know, he gave an instruction, and I felt it's not safe, it's not legal, based on the personnel he wants me to put on the job. And I just said, no, I'm not doing this. We had the conversation over the radio, and I was saying, I'm sorry, I don't think we should do this. I said, you know, you need to get these people out and join you. I said, no, these people are not crew on the ship. I understand they are they're staff of the office. They can do this job, but they're not signed on for this job. And if we take them and something goes wrong, it's going to be a disaster. And we're having this conversation on radio, and the chatterer came on in. I didn't even know chatterer was on the channel, actually. And I said, no, 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 Captain, please don't do that, you know, and all that. So I have done that in the past. So it's not just a matter of obey the captain, final order, and that's it, you know. And we all need to engage our brain as well. Okay. So if what you do is what people will do, well, not completely, but if they know that you will enforce safety, people will be safe. If you will carry out drills and you be part of the drills, people will be part of the drills. All right. I used to have an example. I take musical instruments to the ship when I'm going on board. So it could be maybe guitar or violin or piano. And you know, time I have 2, 3 people joining me playing the piano, or 4 people, or the place becomes musical one way or the other. Someone will say, oh, I used to play trumpet, you know, and all that. So I've seen that what I do, a lot of people can affect the mood of the ship. Okay. Um, and so, okay, this says be seen to be playing an active role, not just behind the scene. So yes, you, of course, you're the captain, or you're the officer of the watch, you're the chief mate, you know, be active. And people will be there, not just say, go and do this, and you sit on your computer, or you're playing game, you know, on deck, and everybody's looking at you because you've given the orders. Now you're playing game, and they are working their ass out. So soon they'll start playing game as well. Be seen to assist your subordinate where the task necessary. I have joined my deck guys to wash down. You know, it's not a big deal. I have joined them in moving things around on the ship. I have joined my second officer in doing passage plan to a new port that they've not been to, and I have been there before. And I said, you know what, this is, and you know, just show them, you know, this is what I would do. It's not, I'm not assessing you. Just I can do it, you cannot do it, or I can help you. And I realized that people pick up quickly, you know, when they see and they understand that they can come and ask you for guidance, and you're not judging them actually. So yes, I think we should know how to do that. So as officers, can you assist your watchman? Can you actually teach your watchman about what you're doing? So you want to go and take the sun sights by sextant. I'm not saying you do it, but anyway, we need to show them how to do it as well. You know, how do you take position? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do that? You know, just helping them and bringing them into the team, letting them feel part of the team, not just no, you cannot come to my bridge, you know, and all that. So things that not you should not do are disciplined, you know, for non-compliance. If you are also not complying, you know, maybe your coverall is never dirty, or your hands, and you know, something like that. Yeah, you probably not, but it doesn't necessarily mean your coverall should be dirty, but you should be active, and people, they must themselves follow the rules. They cannot expect others to follow if they do not do this themselves. So there's no special rule for the Jews and the Gentiles, all right? So what is something obtainable on board is everybody is obtainable. All right, so this one is draw on knowledge and experience. So I believe this, nobody's on an island, all right? So you have experience, and This again, I see this play for people that are in the offshore industry, or not generally during mooring, or generally during mooring operation. You see the captain is up with the pilot, or during what kind of operation do we do offshore? Yeah, maybe cargo operation, and the officers are up, you are up, you are looking at the people walking down. You have a bed view of what is actually happening, to your guys. And you can actually advise them. I see sometimes the ratings or the people on deck feel like you're disturbing them, you're telling them what to do. But the thing is this: you actually have a better view. You see things before it happens. So I had an experience where we were doing some very hard job, and I could see the guys on deck were not happy with us, telling them a few things. So when the shift was, when they had a change of shift, I called the shift that I just finished. I called them to come to the bridge, and I didn't tell them anything. I just said, "Stay on the bridge. Let's look at what these guys are doing." And in about 5-10 minutes, I said, "Oh, that guy should do this. That guy should do this. That guy should do that." I'm like, "Oh, you just came. You already seen it." So I felt bringing them into the bridge to see, and they could actually understand that we have a better view was something that helped the whole team to understand it. That we are not just telling you do this, do this, do this. I say, if you can do it, why don't you come down and do it yourself? Just sitting on the chair, drinking coffee, staying on DP, and you just telling us what to do, blah 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 blah. But no, not really. we and experience has happened. We've probably seen some accidents. I've seen some incidents. You've seen some more near miss, and you don't want that to happen to your guys. All right. Uh, People management as well. I have had incident on the ship. I wasn't the master then, but I had to call the bosun, which was an elderly man, to say, "Please come in. I would like you to be part of this conversation." Just out of experience, maybe, and also because this person you're from the same country, so maybe you'll be able to explain it better, or explain to me better, so I understand it. So again, uh, it's a holistic point of view. We are going as ship managers, all right? So every officer is a manager, and you are a leader of your own team. Okay, so it is tap from everybody, and of course there's basic safety rules, there are basic standards. There's the SOLAS, there's a MAPO, there is the ISM, SMS that is written there. There are the rules and regulation, code of safe working practices. There's the codes and everything. The fact that you know it, you'll be able to apply it. So if you don't know it, you cannot apply it. So that's why you have this big library on your ship. Try and get that knowledge and exchange the knowledge. So it's LTD. Learn it, teach it, then do it. Okay. People management is very important. So uh, I remembered while I was on the LNGs, there's a book I saw. It's called Understanding the Filipino Seafarer. And I felt, what do you guys mean? Write a book about a country, but it was very very interesting, and it was very very useful because the cultures were different. Okay, so um, that's that. Okay, so what to do? Ensure that you're on top speed on safety requirement. Do a refresher if necessary. Understand safety. Toolbox talk. The job you want to do that day, you might have done it, or or it's new. Try to don't just rush into it. Do the TBT. Now there's SWOT, strengths, weakness of everybody. Um, the motivation for people to, the team conflicts. So I do this when I'm on the ship anyway. I try to check the um, deck team, and I know how to rotate them based on their strength and how they would work together, um, and just to make sure that they go along like team, bodies and all that. Try to also move them with experience, so that I think maybe the less experienced should go with the more experienced, and all that. So, appraisals, I personally don't just believe in the last day appraisals, last day and say this is what you did. I think it's a continuous thing as well, so that people know and people develop quickly. So You don't know everything. Ask people. You're going, even on your passage plan, you're going from, say, South Africa to Nigeria. If you've not done that trip before, you've not done it before, it's not a crime. You're not less experienced or you're not less competent if you've not done something before. It just means you've not done it before. You might have done other things other people have not done before. So it's just a matter of saying, hey, guys, has anybody been on this route before? And you'll be surprised. It could be the boson, it could be the AB that has been on the route. I say, oh, what do you remember about this route? And he says, oh, he might not be able to help you with passage plan, waypoints and all that, but he might be able to say, oh, when you get into so area, there are some rigs I saw there last time. There's some offshore installation I saw last time. So when you gather those information as part of your passage plan, which is appraisal, so yeah, so when you gather all that information together, the person that you're getting the information for also feels like they are part of the team, and they'll be willing to work. And also, when you're going for a job, you have to look at the skills of the people you are going to do. Are they experienced? Have they done it before? I remember when I used to go for badge towing. I need to waste it up. When I used to do some badge towing, in Angola, Gabon, Congo, and all that, I look at it and say, during the time we bring the badge together and when we have to go on, I need people that are very smart to get on this. Okay. All right. So learning is a two-way thing. All right. Remain calm in a crisis. We once in a while you get this crisis, and they're in different threshold, right? They can be small, and sometimes they're just like, just imagine if your ship has hit a rig, or you something happened, you're a close quarter situation. So how are you going to behave, and all that? So it is important to be calm. It's not easy, but just imagine you as a leader, you become more aggressive than the people following you, then nobody to look up to. Okay, it is important. So again, drills, safety training will build our confidence, over time. It's not something that happens overnight, so that's why we need to prepare. Even with the best drills, I remember when I was second officer on one of the LNG vessels, and a fault alarm came up around 2 a.m. We were loading in the port, and I was, because it was my watch, so I was in the cargo control room, and I think that was the only reason I can be saying this story, because the captain went to his muster station, which was his bridge, maybe because he always goes to the bridge, and the chief officer went to the galley. The the cook came to the cargo control room. Everybody was upside down, because they were still sleeping and all that. But it was fine. So even with the drills, we still have those things happening. Now imagine if we don't have those drills, we don't have, we don't have those practice and experience. Okay, so it's important for us to have knowledge. Knowledge will give you confidence. Okay, if you've seen something before, you're likely going to be more calm. And if you know what to do, you're likely to be more calm. If you know you're not the only one in the situation, you're likely to be more calm. If you've been practicing, you're going to be more calm. So it's like going to an exam and you did not practice. You're not likely going to be calm. You'll be looking at the ceiling, be eating your pen, and all that. Okay, so language issues in emergency planning. So again, when we're having most jobs, I understand we're multicultural, multi-language operation, but I just tell my guys, please just speak in English, for this operation, just speak in English. I understand it's faster if you speak your language, but I need to know what you're saying, so that if you're making giving the wrong orders, I can quickly jump into it. Okay, you need trust, which has to be there before the accident. It needs to be there in the first place. Okay, before. All right, empathy, tough empathy. Okay. So this says empathy is all about identification with an understanding of another situation, feeling, and motives. So, practical example: when people just come on board, sometimes they're a bit gloomy. They just left the family at home. They're missing the family. but guys, job has to go on. Or someone has just heard the bad news. Now it's also very difficult because the crew hears the bad news even before the captain. So you're there scratching your head. Why is this guy behaving like this? He doesn't behave like this before. And sometimes maybe the second officer says, Captain, he had the bad news from home. I'd be thinking, who gives the crew a bad news without informing you first? You know, when I was a cadet, you don't even, there's no phone then, you know, or even the emails you have to receive from the agents. The agents will tell the captain, and the captain will find a way to tell you, you know. But nowadays, people know about their reliever even before the captain. So yes, still we need to practice empathy. We need to find out when people behave somehow, not just what they did, why they did it is also very important. Why did this person do this? You know, and also the crew, do they need this? It's not just they want this. So it's, you know, those are the things we have to be careful of. But we need to. So yeah, a crew needs safety shoes. All right, they need safety shoes. They need food. The needs are things that we have to look out for. Now, what type of safety shoe do they want? They want Red Wings or they want this? That's another level, right? So the first thing is for me to get you safety shoe. So if you cannot get you Red Wings, sorry. All right. So empathy is something that we also need to practice in our own lives as well. To understand the motives. Why did just ask them, why did you do this? You know, and sometimes we judge other people by their action while we judge ourselves by the intention, you know, on board as well. So when somebody does something, we just judge them. But if we do the same thing, we will say, well, I have a reason for doing it. So it's the same thing as well. People have a reason for their actions. We need to be asking that questions as well. Okay. Feedback on the situation, feeling motives. So maybe the bosun, somebody tells somebody and let the captain know if possible, and you know, so that he can understand. You know, sometimes I just see people just lost in thought. I'm like, what happened? So my wife told me that my kids are sick, or this or that, or this or that. Will I judge them for not performing properly with those information? Probably not. But you know, okay. So what to do now? How do we do it? How should I help you do it? What do you need us to do? Should I inform the agent? Can the agent call your wife? We had this during the COVID. So when COVID broke, um, was at sea heading to South Korea, about heading to South Korea. And people were like, oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to sail. I didn't want it to sail because I could not sign off anymore. I needed to sign off in a safe port, you know, and all that. And all the negotiations were ongoing. People had genuine reasons. What about my family? What do we do? You know, and I understand that they were not lazy seafarers that didn't want to sail, although some of them didn't want to go through Indian Ocean. But I didn't take that off. We just said, okay, I understand COVID. What can we do? How can we help your family? This, that, so that, you know, and all that. So, all right. So what things not to do, making a point of listening to what people say, but then taking a different decision without any clear demonstration that you have heard and understood. Uh, Overemphasizing listening at the expense of decision making leads to loss of respect. You need to balance off empathy and strictness, okay? A good leader is strict but fair. So you have to be fair, okay? Empathy and understanding. Be sensitive to different cultures. As I mentioned, I read a book called Understanding the Filipino Seafarer. So if I go on a ship and I have South Africans on board, okay, and I have them with Indonesians on board, or I have some Nigerians on board, or I have some British on board, or I have some Spanish on board, and I have this, I have that, I have Muslims, I have Christians, I have people of different religions. You know, what are we going to do? We're all not going to think the same way anyway. You know, even brothers, even twins don't think the same way. They don't behave the same way. So we should have some understanding, and that's where the courses on personal safety, social responsibility comes in. Some people like to use a particular kind of incense, some people like to use some kind of like perfume, some people like this, some people like that, you know, and different behaviors. Some people like singing, some people don't like singing, some people like whistling, some people don't like whistling, some people, you know, different things. And some people have their own, what's it called, superstition. So I remember I know some Norwegian captains that if a guy went to buy an umbrella, he went to Korea and this Korean umbrella, he wanted to buy for his wife. And when he was coming on the gangway, the captain saw umbrella on board. Like what? That means you're calling for bad weather. That's like a Norwegian belief, right? So the captain took the umbrella and threw it overboard, like trashed it. That this guy is so pissed off. This is a souvenir for my wife, and all that. So yes, we have different things, we have different behaviors, and it is something that we all have to find a way. Now, some people say the Nigerians, if you have Nigerians on the ship, Nigerians are very loud when they speak. They're like, yeah. And some people think you're fighting. No, you're not fighting, they're just talking. They're just out to express themselves. Okay. And so on and so forth, of course. So language is very important when you're doing these things, especially when there is an emergency. Okay, so that's why we need to have a working language. It's English, all right, guys. Yes, we're playing, but now when it's time to walk or an emergency, this is the language. Okay, so yes, I understand a little bit of Filipino, Tagalog. I use Anobalita, that's Pala, that's Tagalog, the Indonesian one, and all that. But when it comes to work, now let's work on our own working language on board. Okay. All right. So what? So also, it's a matter of trusting people that are looking after at your back. So not backbiting. So people will be like, okay, I only want to work with my nationality. Anywhere that's not my nationality, it's going to be a problem. All those things will be is it Filipino? Filipinos are like this. Indians are like this. Nigerians are like that. You don't even know these people. You don't know them. But you already just start judging them. Things like that will not be very good. Okay, know the person first. Don't just say because they said, oh, South Africans are like this, or Indians are like that, British are like that, and you just make that decision. All right. So deal with people one-on-one. This is we are all professionals. All right. Political correctness. Okay. So also, you want things to be natural. They're human beings. They joke as well, all right? They have their own ways of making jokes, cracking jokes. You can learn it. They are human being, all right? So crew limitation. Now, you have a second officer that you're given a task to do. Give me a passage plan from on airport in Nigeria to Busan in South Korea. This second officer hasn't gone there before. All right. The chief officer has been there before, but everybody says, second officer, it's your job, do it. And if you don't do it, then I'm going to write a terrible appraisal for you. Things like that doesn't make any sense. The second officer obviously is competent, but he has a limitation, right? So if you look at your rules of the road as well, the radar characteristics, efficiency, and limitation of radar equipment, everything has a limitation. So yes, we also have our own limitation. So we need to help other people where necessary. So there's commercial pressure. Everybody's under pressure nowadays on board, all right? Everybody. There's the ISM, there's the paperwork, more paperwork and more paperwork and more paperwork. So there's possibility of fatigue as well. So, but the funny thing is that if anything goes wrong, after the paperwork, then you'll go back to your normal practice of seamanship. Did you do this? Did you do that? So yes, so we need to understand that as well. So if our crew is fatigued, we need to know, because it's not going to help any of us. So, somebody else can do the job. Let them come in so this person can have rest. Work and rest hours. Okay. If there's something I need to discuss, I have been involved in an accident, and I believe in my heart that it was as a result of fatigue. It was just too much. But it became normal. People got used to it, but the fact was it was too much. Then it got to an accident, and when least expected, towards the end of the contract. But to be honest, it was a build-up that was just waiting for something to happen. So yes, so we need to know when to slow down. And as master, sometimes you see the crew are doing it, they're doing it, but to be honest, you need to just help them pull the plug, all right, and say, guys, no, this is just too much. It is too much. So yeah. Or as the officer, you need to know when your guys are doing too much as well. Okay. Create motivation and a sense of community on board. Yes, for those of people that know about me or some of us on board, we like this community, like every week barbecue. No, I'm just joking. But again, it's about the team. It's about everybody, together. The team is the strength of the team is like the weakest. Okay, let people learn, teach people ASAP. I know if I get my ABs to get competent in bridge navigation watch, they're very excited. They're very excited. They're ready to do more of their own job as well because they see, oh, wow, I can actually touch it. Yeah, I feel, yeah. So those things are very key. Team spirit. So thanks, guys. We did it. And all that. So there will be less errors. And all that. Okay. So get people involved in management. Get people to say, bring your own contribution as well. Okay. Social activities involving the staffs. Yeah, social activities is always good. You know what I mean? A master should have the ability to get people working together and pulling their weight. One should involve people in daily discussion or with a clear discipline framework. Okay, what we shouldn't do. So if you get people to talk, and when you're going to make a decision, you don't put their input, they would not talk tomorrow, next time. And we shouldn't treat people, in a condensating way or like trivial, all right? So number 9, place the safety of the crew and passengers above everything. This is a very tricky one for a lot of captains these days, I have to be honest. So you're talking about safety of the crew and passengers at the expense of sometimes pressure from office, and when other captains are not doing it, it's a tricky one. People be like, well, Captain, why are you the only one doing it? But we need to get this done. The money has to come in. The clients need this. The client need that. You say you need an extra second officer. Why? Don't you know this is going to cost us money and all that? So sometimes you just have to bond it and say, you know what, guys, we need this. We need it. Oh, Captain, can you go? We know your food is short, but can you do this trip? When you come back to next port, we're going to supply food. Sorry. No, we cannot do that. I need food for my crew and I need it before I sail. I've sent this requisition 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. So, and the crew knowing that you are, you have them in mind, they will be happy to do a lot of stuff, as a team on board. So it is difficult because you're one side thinking, if I don't play by the rules, will the company call me back? Especially if you're freelance. If you're freelance, don't have a full-time employment, or you don't have a labor or union to support you. They say they don't want to call you back. So it is that balance, but we have to look for it. But in anything, yes, maybe the company doesn't call you back, but another company will call you back. But you would live with the regret if something goes wrong to your crew along the line, or you lose a crew, or something terrible happens. Yes, the company will call you back, might not even call you back because you've now caused an accident. But again, so it is that value that like there, and that's why I say we all have to professionals, all right? So what to do, make it clear to both superiors and subordinates that you are empowered. So what does this come in? Your ISM comes in Master Overriding Authority. Someone says if you use it once, you might not use it again. But again, my experience, for most companies that I have worked with, they actually appreciate it. It could be confrontational sometimes. Tell the superintendent, no, I'm not doing this. I mean, he's under pressure as well. So if you look at the superintendent is telling Captain, you must do this. Captain is telling chief officer or the OW, or chief engineer, we have to do this. Everybody's under pressure. Now, if you look above the superintendent, there are some people also on his neck. And if you look at those ones, there are some people above their neck. So I used to tell people, some of my crew, that I don't trust people that have cats at home. I prefer dogs. If you have dogs, yes, I can trust you. But those that have cats, because when there's a lot of pressure, passing to the next level, and just imagine I have a cat. I have so much pressure, I need to kick something. I just kick my cat, all right? Now you cannot kick your dog, right? Most likely dogs will attack you, all right? So, so yes, there is that part that we all need to be aware of, all right? If you say safety is your priority, and next thing you say, you know what, guys, let's just do this, let's just do this, let's just do it. You know, people might give you benefit of doubt the first time, but again, the second time, do it again, then they'll just tell the captain, safety is not a priority. Chief, safety is not a priority. Just tell us we should do it. You know, people say we want to go to an enclosed space, and the client say we need to go into that space now, we need to clean it, we need to load you, you need to move out. And you say, okay, guys, let's go and do this. And they say, no, we just open it. It's not ideal. This is not enclosed space. Just say, please, you do it because you're the captain. You know, that you're going to break the morale of the crew, if you understand what I mean. You're going to break the morale of the crew. Some people are not hearing. There's no sound or volume. I think you might need to check. Please check your side properly. I believe other people are hearing me. Please check your mic. Increase the volume of your device and check your mic. Okay, so you can hear me clearly. So please check the volume of your side, on your side, and try and see if you can increase it, okay? So we cannot eat your cake and have it. You want to be safe and you don't want to be safe, if you understand what I mean. So yes, I know it's difficult when the captain says you have to do this, but guys, no, I cannot do it because I want to be alive tomorrow. Yes, I understand it's a tricky one if you have to think about the income, but it's only someone that's alive that thinks about income anyway. Okay, and when you're professional, you're just professional. Of course, don't overbear. If you can, there's always risk, but you have to do your risk assessment. And if you can break it down, fine. If you cannot break it down, don't break it down. Then just show what can we do. So I need a safety book. I need safety book. I'm not going to go sacrifice my leg because of your job. Because if something goes wrong, they're going to replace me, right? So you are replaceable. So you need to make sure you go home with your hands, your legs, and your body intact. All right, that's what I tell all my guys. Okay, openness and clarity, communication. Okay, all right. Communication and listen clearly. The ability to communicate clearly is important at all levels in the organization. For a master, the key issue is most often how to encourage better two-way communication rather than one-way communication. So I find this, especially when you look at it from an African context, we have this respect, all right? So sometimes I just go on deck just to chill with the guys. And when I go there, and everybody just slowly, one by one, they just disappear. And I'm left there alone. So I'm thinking, I came up from hop because I'm alone. I came down and you guys have disappeared. So sometimes I say, guys, you know what, let's play soccer. Let's play basketball, okay? Or during a barbecue. During barbecue, we make sure that everybody's down to earth. If you don't roast your meat, you're not eating. You know, that's it. Wherever, cook. Don't do anything for anybody. Let's have a a two-way open door policy, and that's how I operate anyway. So I understand a bit of maybe generational gap. Some generations just feel, you don't just talk to the captain anyhow. Of course, I don't mean you should be disrespectful. Nobody rights to be disrespected, even if you're speaking down. So I think respect is a two-way thing. Respect people up and respect people down, all right? So that there is garbage in, garbage out. So, and all that. So I feel it's very important that we balance our authority with approachability. So people should be able to approach you and say, Captain, I have, can I have a minute? Can I have a word? You know, and I'll say, yeah, please, what's it? Because I want people to be able to be happy to do the job. So I'm always available for them to let me know. The least I can do is to know, to give you my own advice. Or if I cannot solve it on board, we escalate it, okay? So those are the things as well. If you are the officer on, if you, Sino, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome, welcome. All right. So
Thank you.
if you are the officer of watch and your rating, your watchman cannot approach you, you know, then what are you doing together? It's just unbelievable. You just messing up the opportunity. So there's no leadership in that space. So you have to be, yes, you have its authority, and you still have to be approachable. So a few things I did. I remember when I was a second mate, I was on watch. This is one of the questions I wanted to ask my maybe another class, but let me just give the answer today. So I had this situation with a lot of yachts. I can't remember the exact location. A lot of yachts in the water. And I was like, okay, I need more hands. So I called my watchman. He was forward with the bosun. They were somewhere inside the tank. It's going to take time for him to come up to the bridge. I need extra lookout. So I called the captain. I called, hello, captain. I said, I have a lot of traffic here and I need additional lookout. And he came up to the bridge. And he came up to the bridge. I said, okay, captain, you can please man this the port side or the starboard side, whichever, I can't remember. I said, please report every object you see to me so I can make a formal decision. And Captain Larson, yeah, that's his name, Larson, Norwegian guy. And he just took the binoculars and he went to, you know, and he said, second, he called him Sobajo. There's a vessel here, there's a vessel there. While the other guy was still coming anyway, the watchman was coming. And I just, you know, we managed the whole situation for like 30 minutes, 1 hour. And after that, he left, you know, and that's it. After that, he handed over the binoculars and he said, okay, second, thank you for calling me if you have other help. So yes, please, you hire the person on watch, you should behave like that. You have that authority, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong in being um, criticized, okay? There's nothing wrong in being criticized. Of course, I would say that people should do respectfully and say, Captain, I don't like what you did here, or I don't agree with this, Captain. I would not have done it this way, Captain. Or second, Chief, I do not think I would have done it this way, you know, so that we have this knowledge exchange, you know, and that. So Captain needs to be more approachable. Officers need to be more approachable, all right? Yes, you have the peeps on the shoulder. I know it's expensive. I know they're heavy to carry, but we also need to be approachable, right? Because it's not just what happens outside can affect what's going to happen inside. So if your team cannot come to you with what the burden and knowing that you have their back, they might not be able to give you the very best on on the ship. Okay, so I do this. It was a practice I started since I was a cadet. I just once I go on the ship, I drop my bag, I get my safety gear on, I walk around the ship. I just do walk around the ship. In that process, I get the second mates to take me around, you know, the whole ship. I get the second engineer to take me around the whole, just nothing, just out of just my own lifestyle. The first day, just walk around the ship. And you know, sometimes I go to the engine room. I know a captain that goes to the engine room every day. He doesn't trust the engineers, but I'm just joking anyway. So I go to the engine room. I try to, you know, to have some informal discussions with them. I meet with the guys while having coffee break down. Try and do that as well. Be there, listen to them. You know, and open door policy, please. You know, there are people, everybody is a human being, everybody is important. You cannot be the captain and be the one doing the morning lines yourself. So we are all important, if you understand what I mean. Uh, I don't think anybody is more important. I think our responsibility differs. So some people are more responsible, but when it comes to level of importance, I think we are all important on board. We all have a role to play. Okay. So barriers, please. So, no open barriers. Positive feedback on lessons. If you like someone that's done something good, and if something is not good enough, also be able to accept it as a near miss, or and all that, and share the lessons, not because you want to blame. Just have a just culture. Like, okay, this is a lesson we all learn from it. I tell my officers when I'm on board, I have had few accidents in my in my career, and I tell them how it happened and when it happened, and I hope they learn from it as well, just to let them know that these things do happen. I'm not there to show I'm a macho man and all that. And if I go on a ship and it's a new ship, you guys, yes, I'm the master, but you guys have more knowledge of the ship than I do. Okay, so those are the things which I think we should create that atmosphere of openness. So don't. Now, if you're doing this checks, I know on some of my ships they say when they see they call them Holy Spirits or something. When they see the white coveralls walking around the ship, they know there's a problem. They just run away because they see the white coverall man, and all that. So no blame policy, yes, but there's need for discipline. Okay, and if there's a suggestion, let the person that made the suggestion follow up. Let them know that you're following up. Okay. So that they know that anytime they make a suggestion, you don't just dump it, and you follow up with them. So if someone says he's a good captain, so let's say he's a good second officer, he's down to earth, you can go to him. So let's use another example. She's a good third engineer, all right? She's down to earth, you can go to her. Or let's say she's a good chief officer, she's down to earth, you can go to her. Okay. People will only believe you and follow you if you talk to them and show them why things must be done that way. So you have your own reasons for something. You just don't judge people for not doing it the way you want them to do it without even having that conversation. You can go and ask them, why do you do this? Okay. And they would probably have their own reason. I cannot think of anything in the maritime industry, but I know of people that cook certain dishes certain way. They just cook, maybe they just cook fish, and they just don't cook the head of the fish. And like, why? And they say, oh, because my mother doesn't do it. Really? Your mother doesn't cook the head of the fish. Why does your mother doesn't cook it? And they ask the mother says, I don't know, because my own mother doesn't do it. So the grandmother doesn't do it. And you ask the grandmother, my grandmother, why don't you cook the head of the fish? She's like, oh, no. In my time, we don't have big pots. We have only small pots. So we use a small pot. So, and there's no way the head of fish can come into it. So people, so, you can understand that could be generational, things like this. So I really hope we see the points in this 10. It's called Leading for Safety. Now, in previous classes, we talked about rules of the road. We've talked about certificates. The links, the videos are on YouTube. If you are not on our WhatsApp group, find a way to get across to me so I can add you to the WhatsApp group, where this video also will be on YouTube. Other videos are there as well. But you can see that we've not talked about any of the action movies today, rules of the road, rule 19, but these are things that help you to practice rule 19 properly, if you don't listen, even if you're not a good listener, your watchman would not even tell you they've seen an hazard. They might not. They feel like if they tell you, you would just tell them, shut up, I've seen it. I know, well, say, oh, well, chief mate already sees, he has seen it. And you did not see it. Because last time they told you, instead of you to tell them, thank you, you started doing things like, yeah, I've seen it. You just discount them. So next time they would not tell you, okay? So I hope we've been able to see why we need to place the crew and passengers' safety above everything else, because it is important. When people know you care, then they will care about the job you need them to do, okay? I'm going backwards, you see. Motivation and a sense of community. It is important you keep those barbecues, you keep doing those barbecues on board because people need to smile. You know, it's not easy to be away from family. So we need to have that community and not just the social, educational as well. And this is one of the things we're doing as well to say, let's learn from each other. It's a sense of community. Okay, go to the engine room. Deck officers, go to the engine room once in a while. You know, go and see what they're doing. Don't just drink coffee up on the bridge. Go and see that the engine room is hot. You know, the engineers like you when you come and visit them anyway, but they don't have good coffees in the engine room. They're terrible people. Um, crew crew limitation. Okay, not everybody cannot know everything, all right? As a master, you also have your own limitations, of course. That's why you're not there 24 hours. So yes, you might fatigue or you've not been to that place before and your second officer's been there before. Why not? Learn knowledge from them, okay? Um, and don't hoard the knowledge and say, well, I won't tell anybody I have done this before because I won't share people how I do it because I want them to always call me. I know how to operate this GPS, but the new second officer doesn't know how to operate it, so I won't tell him. I want the captain to always call me, so the captain will know that I'm the only one that can do it. No, 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 come on, we're past that level, right? So we be sensitive to different cultures. And when you sense different cultures, don't just bring, oh, they've said that South Africans are always like this, or Indians are always like this, and that's going to be your own play. Interact with people one on one and meet them at their level as well, or bring them up to your level. Practice tough empathy. It's not easy. You need things done, but at the same time, you need to listen, and people need to know that you listen. Sometimes you don't. I don't like compromise. I like to synergize. So you have an idea, I have an idea. So if you look at my hand, it looks like a triangle, right? So just imagine you're at that point, I'm at this point. Can we both come to that point? You know, that's what I like us to do instead of coming to the middle where we lose something, all right? I don't like this, I like this. Synergy is what I like, okay? Because we can think of a better way out of it. All right. So the other one again is remain calm in crisis. Remain calm in crisis. Very easy to say than to do. Your ship is on fire. How can you remain calm? But if you're not calm, you cannot think. You cannot think through it. To be honest, so you have to. This comes with practice. This comes with experience. Okay. I know people say you're always smiling. Captain's always smiling. I'm like, yeah, I need to smile, man. At least when you look left and you see my smile, you know someone is still smiling on the ship. Draw on knowledge and experience. Yeah, we've mentioned that a bit. So the codes are there to help you. Yes, please go and read the Solas manual on the ship. I know when you start reading these things, you feel like you want to sleep. Yes, not a problem. You read yourself to sleep, then you read yourself out of sleep, okay? And when it gets to a stage. So you have to just read it, you know, and Solas, LSA code, FFA code, all those things, the rules of the road, read it again, just get more knowledge because people have, you're standing on the shoulders of giants when you read those books, all right? Lead the team by example. I really would not tell people to do what I cannot do. Sometimes if it's a new task, I'm on deck with them so that we can all figure it out together. All right. Now, once we've done it, then okay, I can watch and see what are you guys doing while we continue to assess it. When people see that you are on deck with them, I don't, you know, everybody gets to sit up. Anyway, that's my experience. All right. So instill respect and command authority. So with all this, I believe people will still respect you. Yeah, you have the one or two people that just have their own lives, just want to, you know, you just feel like, no, you know, but that's them. You cannot be right and angry. You cannot be wrong and angry, all right? You have a job to do. You have to be professional every time. You know, we have a lot of things working against us, you know. Maybe the color is one of them, but still, we need to still be out there and let people know that we can do this job properly. Okay. So I hope in the last 1 hour plus, we've talked about the 10 core safety leadership qualities that we need to have on board. This is a document by MCA. I will send the link to where you can get this and you can read it yourself. I know, and I have been asked about this during my orals when I think maybe as chief mate or when I went for class one. I can't remember which of them. So these are things that they ask, because, we are now managers, right? You're now becoming a manager. So, and you have to behave like one, okay? So you're leader, you're leading a team. You're leading a fire team, fire leader, fire squad leader. You see, man overboard leader. So there's always leadership in those things, okay? So if you are if you're not the master, you say, well, this is not my problem. But if you are on the rescue boat and you are the leader of the rescue boat, what are you going to do? Let me say this. We were to do a drill and launch the free fall lifeboat some years back, and I didn't want to go on the free fall lifeboat launching it. I just didn't like it. I don't like the thrill. So I told the captain, I think I was second mate then. I said, hello, sorry, captain, I can't do this. I just got married, and I cannot go on this thing, So I just found my way out of it. But I don't say you should do that. But again, guys, let's be professional. Safer lives, safer ships, and cleaner seas is all we're after. This is a nice picture, but guess I don't have this big tummy. I have a 6-pack. And yeah, I'm proud like that. Thank you very much. Leading for safety. Does anybody have any question? I think I've been speaking for like an hour now. Any question, any suggestions, anything, comments, please. Just unmute yourself. If you have a question, please unmute yourself. Don't be shy. To everybody joining us for the first time today, welcome. Do you guys want me to be calling names? No questions from you. Okay. All right. Anybody has a question? Anybody has comments on this? Hey, Captain Bisaya, are you still there? Do you have something to add to this?
Yeah, good evening. I'm still here. It's really been a lot of leadership talk. And to be honest, I just want to say, apart from even the orals and our exams, this is a very important class because no matter how high we get to, especially when we get to position of management, we will need to be able to lead people, no matter how competent you are. If you don't have the management skills, there is issue. And that's why we have, is it the bridge resource management and the bridge team management courses for officers and for managerial people. We have the human resource management. So if you don't mind, I would like to pick some people and ask them some questions based on just what we've learned today. I just want to see how we can handle it. So if I want to wait, let me check out this one. Yeah, there's Alpha Mike. Alpha Mike, if you are there, just unmute and let me know you're there. AM. Okay. So, AM, you are a. So, what's your position? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, AM. What's your position on board?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, I can hear you. What's your position on board? What's your position on board?
Hello, you're breaking. Can you hear me? Hello.
I hear you loud and clear. I think maybe you're having some issues there.
Hello.
Maybe I'll get back to you. But there is a.
Hello.
Okay, let's go to
Hello.
Lala. Is Lala there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so I'm glad you were able to get one or two things from what Captain Tayo has been teaching us since, particularly when I was learning.
Yes.
Okay, so let's put it into let's put it into practice now. If you are officer, of the watch, and your cadet, comes to meet you and tells you you are going in the wrong direction, that he thinks you are going in the wrong direction, what would be your action immediately?
First of all, I'll give him a listening ear to hear out what he's saying or what he's seeing that I'm not seeing, or what I'm supposed to do that I'm not doing. So definitely I'll give him a listening ear. Then from what I've heard from him, then I'll be able to assess to see if I'm on the right or wrong path.
Yeah, that is perfectly based on what Captain has already told us. We should not be overconfident on, oh, he is a cadet, we keep quiet there or stuff like that. No, sometimes they might even see a wreckage or a danger that we might not be able to see. So that will bring me now to another question, which normally even comes out, especially for the chiefmate and the officers, is I think somebody, Syria Kilo SK, are you there?
Good evening, captains. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, and social affairs. You will be a captain by God's grace. So now, how will you, based on what we've learned tonight, resolve conflict on board? And conflict in the sense that your AB comes to meet you and it tells you that the cook isn't cooking something nice and is giving you food poisoning, and is giving the AB food poisoning. What would be your action?
Okay, he's reporting a case of food poisoning from the cook.
Yeah.
Okay. If he's reported a case of food poisoning, then I think we'll have to check with other crew to see if they have a similar case. And if this is it, then we'll have to then check with the cook as well. And if there's truly a case of food poisoning, then we'll have to arrest it. Either change the meal, we'll change the food that they're eating at that period. We'll suspend it, then we'll see if there's any progress while trying to treat the problem at that period.
Okay, so you have gone through it and you've seen that there is no problem.
Okay, if there is no problem.
And you've seen that there is no problem.
No, I have to check with the rest of the crew as well to see if it's a common problem. If it is one, then we'll have to address it through with the cook or maybe with the supplies we're having. But if there's a problem, truly then, if it's common with the rest of the crew, then we'll try treating it both with medications and also switching the diets. If possible, report so that the supplies will be checked.
Okay, just quick one. Let me pick one more person and I'll say the answer to it.
Okay.
Techno, come on, are you here? Is Techno there? No, he's gone for MSAS protest.
I think Sino has raised up a hand. Sino, do you have?
Sino, let's go now. Sino,
what do you want to say? Do you have an answer to the question?
No, see, we don't have an answer. We have a question to ask.
Okay, ask your question. So maybe Captain Musai will give the answer at the same time.
Oh, okay. We are both currently trainee tag masters, so we'll be soon getting our COC, Master Port Ops. So the question we're having is that, okay, you are the master in a vessel like a bunker barge, and you're at anchorage, and now you sighted two ABs. They're fighting on deck, and there's a blood involved. So what action do I do as a master? Maybe I was at the bridge having a coffee. Yeah.
Actually, thanks for the question. I wanted Captain Tower to finish, and I asked similar question actually about when you see people fighting, what are you going to do? And I was going to ask you guys to give me your answer anyway. So I think you played a fast one, but it doesn't mean that you will not be the ones to give your own answer anyway. Yeah, Captain Tower, please go ahead.
Yeah, that was nice. To be honest, I had 3 questions, and that was the third question. But
That was the third question. All right, so maybe they can answer that. They can answer the question.
They've done the question, so let's give them the privilege because they're smart. But the only thing is, I'm going to just give Lala. You there? Can you help us with this? And let's share some knowledge about this, some managerial knowledge. If Lala is there, you give us some answers. I think Lala is not there. Banks is there.
Yeah, Banks is here.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
good evening, boss.
What's up? Can you help us with this? You're zipping your tea, having your number. You see 2 heavies with blood all over the place. As to I'm also in line with regulations, whatever regulations you might want to quote. How can we resolve this?
Okay, they are fighting on the deck. First, as a master, my safety too is in question here. Are they fighting with weapons, or they are just fighting, you know? So if they are not fighting in anything, one, I won't go in between them to separate them, because you know there are some cases that there's a case that happened, I think this year or last year, that a master was trying to separate some crew, and it was stabbed to death. I think it's a Turkish vessel or stuff like that. So first thing I will observe the situation. I won't just jump in between them and try to separate them. So once I've assessed the situation, I will summon a lot of proof so that we can go there. I won't go alone, because you know when people are fighting, they can do anything. So once I settle them, once I go with the other crews, at least I have some FT men on board, which I might go with. So we try to settle the issue, try to know the cause of the fight before I can make my judgment. But fighting on board, you know, is a major issue on board. So according to Master Navy Code of Conduct, so I think both of them have to go on first to make peace sign on the vessel.
Thank you very much. Because of time, that was a very very nice answer. I'll start from this answer and then I'll go back to the first one. Is immediately what you will do is immediately stop. At all means get some guys to stop the fight. But there's one thing where there is no law and order, your ship is in danger. Fighting on board, even while from the Maritime Academy of Nigeria or Oceanography, where most of us do know come from, it's a very serious offense. And also, according to the Merchant Navy Code of Conduct, it is also a very major offense. So getting these two together and making them understand what's the implication of what they've done. Investigating, yes, you can, but that does not eradicate your right to give them a punishment. And that is where that question was coming from, because it was supposed to be the other question that I was saying. Was according to the Merchant Code of Conduct, Navy Merchant Code of Conduct, we are to issue 1, a first warning, 2, a second warning, it should be a written warning, and then 3, it will be a dismissal. So this, if formal warning will be given to these 2 personnel, ABs or whatever, for fighting on board, because this is not allowed on any ship. And then after that, if it's just like yellow card, and Basbos is a red card. And if after that again, he commits such offense, it will now be what I call a written warning, which is mandated by the master to write it down in his logbook. And it is not only limited to the master, but also to the officer or to the chief officer who is able to cite this. So first of all, we cannot dismiss the two ABs. First of all, like I said, we need to stop them. It is not supposed to be tolerated in any way. We should not look for any excuse, even though you want to investigate. But there should be warning. And the warning can lead up to dismissal, but it has to go through the process. The process is, first of all, a verbal warning, which will be issued by the officer in charge. And secondly, a written warning. When I say a written warning, I have given a written warning when I was a master, because I first gave a verbal warning to a sleeping second officer, then I gave him the written warning on the logbook, and he slept again the next day, and that was his dismissal. Unfortunately, that was where I was a bad captain. But this was life and safety involved. In the middle of the night, my officer is sleeping. But this is what I'm talking about. So we give him, so as a master, you give him the verbal warning after, because if you are much interested on why they fight, you are looking for excuse for more fights. So no matter the situation, if there is any case that someone hits me, I will come down to you as a master and tell you somebody hit me, but I'm not going to retaliate because of my own training. But the master is expected to rise up, find out why multiple find out why it hits you, who hits you, and then start with the warning, and then the written warning, and then the final dismissal. And the master has the right to dismiss any crew on board. So I do not know if this answer has really qualified your question. Yeah, actually I was coming to that because that was the managerial, but it also has a code that we follow in the Merchant Navy. And then this comes back to my question of food poisoning that we experience on board. As a master, you have to be more concerned. Also, I was also expecting us to tell me about safety representation, representative, and the safety officer. And also, I was also expecting us to tell us, have you carried out inspections in the galley? Because sometimes even the food might be the best quality food, but if the galley is not well maintained or properly cleaned by the cook in question, we might be having food poisoning. Or is it a case of integrity of the personnel unhappy with another person? I have been a master where I had 12 crew and I had up to 50 passengers managing to over because they were all divers. And trust me, 10 of them reported me that they are all having stomach ache, that the food wasn't good. They brought down Chevron, they brought down everybody, and I was a little devastated because it was looking like a false accusation. But how was I able to handle this? It's not like I will push them away. But of course, every single investigation that you have to carry out, you have to note it down. This case has been brought, investigation has started, then you bring down the inspection record of the galley, and you check that it is well properly. Your inspections, you carry out inspection. But where I was also going is the safety officer and the safety representative. They carried out inspection also in the galley as well. Another case that we also need to find out when doing managerial is under the MLC, and is the onboard compliance form. So if your personnel, your AB comes to meet me, my officer or somebody beneath me comes to meet me and tell me, sir, this is not it. And he finds out that, first of all, he is to fill an onboard compliance form if he is not happy or if he wants to go that route, which is the normal way. And maybe next week we'll talk about, or another time we can talk about what this MLC talk about onboard compliance, which everybody on board must have. So in that case, I'm feeling poisonous and I've reported it and stuff like that. He can also, with the onboard compliance form, make sure from the lowest level to the highest level, his complaint is being made. Because somebody said, what if other people are feeling okay and he is not feeling okay? To be honest, one person also might not be able to feel okay, and everybody else feel okay because the person might be allergic to what the cook is cooking. And the cook itself is just cooking it like, okay, for instance, you have 12 Indians and 1 Nigerian. Trust me, the Indians are enjoying their food, but the Nigerian there has not taken that his curry and his eyes is boiling. And when he makes the report and everybody says, my friend, you are the only one who is complaining, sit down there. No, don't tell me to sit down there. I am going to write an onboard complaint form. My officer is going to take charge. And if my officer doesn't take charge, you as the AB, you as the second officer have the right to take it to another level, which is your mate or your master. And if you find it suitable that they've not been able to handle it, you also have the right to take it to your DPA, your designated personnel shop. And if the company hasn't taken care of it, you have the right to take it to your post state or to your flag state, and it goes high till somebody will take it, and the highest is your flag state, which will take it up. So for instance, because of that, I'm not going to be afraid to sit on a Filipino vessel or a Chinese vessel, and all of them, you know, Chinese, they can eat live rabbit, when they eat live rabbit and you are looking. I've been on vessels, I'm looking, and they are just eating, and I'm so hungry. But these are complaints form. So I don't know who answered that question. We should always be careful of not making our judgment based on what other people have said, but also going deep down, get a safety officer to investigate from different departments and different representatives. And that's what makes you a master. If you as a master, you look, or that's what makes you a managerial officer, an officer that can manage things. If you have the concern for each and every one of your crew, and not just because majority of the crew serves this, minority doesn't matter. So these are managerial skills that we need to have adhere to. And remember, as an officer, you are a manager. You will manage, even though you're a second officer, you manage your AV, you manage your cadets, you manage your bossing. If you are now a master, trust me, and there's one thing, people, if you can manage people, there's nothing on earth you cannot manage. Thank you. That's just how hard.
Thanks very much. When you said manage the cadets, I said the cadets are terrible to manage. Very difficult things. All right, so maybe one of the next classes, I will tell you my own experience, life experience of when we had the cook and the steward fighting in the galley, and there was blood through life. Experience of that. What did we do? Okay, probably maybe next class we'll talk about this. Maybe Captain, if you have time, you can prepare for that, for this, the code for disciplinary actions and all that. Regulation 7 and 9, 7 and 9 or 7 and 5 now. I think it's changed over some time. So maybe we can do that next time. So again, thanks to everybody that made it to the class today. Banks, Captain Musara, thank you. Captain Lipa, thank you. BYK, Lala, Linguli, is that you? MASK, Sino, and the other lady there as well, Techno, and everybody that was able to make it. Timbalili. I've been practicing that, but sorry. All right. Yeah, Stanley, thanks to everybody. All right. So the video of this will also be on YouTube after we edit it, okay? If you're not in the group, try and see how, the way you got this, try and get them to send me your WhatsApp contact so that I can add you to the group where we share the links, and any question you have, you can ask the group and everybody will be there to answer, okay? So thank you very much again, Captain Messiah. It's a pleasure. I know you're still in the office. Yeah. So guys, please be safe, get yourself, in a safe place for the second wave, if you're having it in your country of COVID. Okay, guys, and be professional in all you do. Thank you. Have a nice one.